Episode 6, The Reign of Darkness. Part 1, Throne of Ashes. 6 months had passed since the Dark Lord's victory, though time itself seemed diseased now. The sun, when it dared to show, was a pale, sickly thing that cast no warmth, only shadows. The moon had turned red permanently, weeping blood that fell as rain on certain nights. The Dark Lord held court in what had once been Astoria's grand palace, now transformed into a monument to suffering. The Throne of Ashes had grown, fed by the cremated remains of those who dared resist. Each day, rebels were burned alive before it, their ashes absorbed into the throne's ever-expanding form. It now towered 20 feet high, a mountain of compressed death upon which the Dark Lord lounged with casual indifference.
Report.
His voice like silk over broken glass. The Herald of Darkness stepped forward, bowing so low its horns scraped the floor.
My lord, the eastern kingdoms have fallen. Their armies threw themselves from cliffs rather than face us. The northern wastes are yours. The barbarian tribes now sacrifice their firstborn to your glory. Boring. What of the resistance? Surely someone still has spine enough to amuse me. Small pockets, my lord. Guerrilla fighters in the mountains. Nothing of consequence.
The Dark Lord's eyes, if the swirling voids in his face could be called eyes, narrowed.
Nothing of consequence bores me. And when I'm bored, I get creative.
He gestured lazily, and the Herald's left arm withered to dust. The Herald didn't scream. It had learned that screaming only encouraged him. Part 2, Demon's Dominion. The world had become unrecognizable. In every major city, demon overseers ruled with iron claws. Humans were cattle, some for food, some for sport, most for labor. The lucky ones died quickly. The unlucky ones were kept alive, their suffering seasoning for demon feasts. In what had been the merchant district of Astoria, a demon called Guttripper held court. It had claimed 100 humans as its personal playthings, forcing them to perform elaborate plays about their own degradation. Today's performance: a father forced to choose which of his 3 children would be eaten first.
Choose quickly, or I'll eat them all slowly.
The father wept, begged, offered himself instead. Guttripper found this hilarious.
You're the dessert. Now choose, or watch me start with the baby's toes.
Such scenes played out across the world. Demons didn't just rule, they reveled. Every cruel impulse, every sadistic thought was not just permitted but encouraged. The world had become hell's playground. Part 3, Cathedral of Evil. Where once stood Astoria's Cathedral of Light, something new had been built. The Cathedral of Evil rose like a cancer from the earth, its spires twisted into obscene shapes that hurt to perceive directly. It was built from black stone that wept blood, and its windows were made from the crystallized screams of saints. Inside, worship continued, but not to any god of light. Archbishop Benedict had been kept alive for a special purpose. The Dark Lord had corrupted him slowly, letting him keep just enough of his original self to know what he'd become. Now he led the midnight masses, preaching the gospel of despair.
Suffering is truth. Hope is the cruelest lie. In darkness, we find honesty. In the Dark Lord, we find eternity.
The congregation, those who hadn't been driven mad, repeated the words. They had no choice. Demon enforcers stood at every exit, and those who didn't participate enthusiastically enough were used as living candles, their fat rendered for light while they still breathed. Behind the altar hung Gabriel's wings, preserved and mounted like a hunting trophy. They still bled golden ichor that was collected in chalices and forced upon the congregation as a mockery of communion.
Drink. Taste the failure of heaven.
Part 4, The Witches' Chorus. In the deep woods outside the city, where even demons feared to tread alone, the witches had gathered. Not hedge witches or herb women, but the true practitioners of the old dark arts. The Dark Lord's victory had empowered them, freed them from centuries of hiding. They danced naked around fires that burned green and purple, their aged bodies moving with unnatural grace. At their center stood their high priestess, Morgra the thrice-cursed, her skin covered in tattoos that moved and writhed.
Double, double, toil and trouble. Fire burn and cauldron bubble.
Into their great cauldron they threw unspeakable things. Eyes of innocence, tongues of liars, hearts of lovers separated by death. The brew they created wasn't a potion but a living thing, a creature of liquid malice that would be released into the water supply.
By the pricking of my thumbs, something wicked this way comes. And that something is us, sisters. U.S.
The Dark Lord had promised them dominion over all human magic if they served him well. They served very well indeed, cursing bloodlines, blighting crops, ensuring that even those who escaped the demons would find no peace. One witch, younger than the rest, brought forth a special prize, a pregnant woman captured from the refugee camps.
The child will be born under the blood moon. Born into darkness, raised in evil. It will know no light, no love, only service to our master.
The pregnant woman screamed, begged, but the witches just laughed. They had such plans for the child. Such terrible plans. Part 5, Whips of Torment. In the dungeons beneath the Cathedral of Evil, Master Torture of Rax practiced his art. Once a human serial killer, he had been rewarded by the Dark Lord with demonic enhancement. Now he was something between human and demon, kept alive by pure sadism. His workshop was a symphony of suffering. Every surface held instruments of agony, from simple brands to complex machines that could stretch a person across multiple dimensions simultaneously. But his favorites were the whips of torment, 9 lashes, each made from a different material of significance. The first, braided from the hair of murdered children. The second, tendons from faithful priests. The third, vocal cords from silenced singers. The fourth, nerve endings kept eternally alive. The fifth, thorns from Eden's forbidden tree. The sixth, chains from heaven's fallen gates. The seventh, the preserved tongue of a prophet. The eighth, crystallized tears of martyrs. The ninth, a single strand of Gabriel's hair.
Today's subject is the former General Aldrich. He's proven remarkably resistant to standard methods. So we'll try something special.
Aldrich hung from chains, his body already a map of prior sessions. But his eyes still held defiance.
Still think someone will save you? Gabriel thought he could save everyone. Look how that turned out.
He struck, and where the whip touched, Aldrich felt not just pain but the weight of Gabriel's failure, experienced the angel's fall as if it were his own.
Yeah.
He finally screamed.
Beautiful. Now, let's try all 9 at once.
Episode 6, The Reign of Darkness. Part 6, The Human Farms. Outside the cities, the Dark Lord had established something practical, human farms. Not for food, though some demons did partake, but for suffering. Humans bred and raised specifically to feed the Dark Lord's power, which grew from despair. The farms were managed by the cultivator, a demon who approached suffering with agricultural efficiency. Humans were sorted by their capacity for different types of anguish, physical, emotional, spiritual. They were kept in conditions precisely calculated to maximize misery while maintaining life.
The young ones are best for hope-breaking. You raise them with just enough kindness to develop dreams, then crush those dreams systematically.
They passed pens where children played with toys that would periodically transform into instruments of pain, just often enough to create constant anxiety, never knowing when joy would become agony.
The adults are sorted by attachment types. Those over there? They were couples. We keep them in sight of each other but separated by cursed glass. They can see their loved ones tortured but can never help, never touch, never comfort.
One man pressed against the glass, watching his wife on the other side being slowly flayed. He pounded until his fists bled, screaming soundlessly. The glass prevented sound from crossing.
Exquisite, isn't it? He's been doing that for 3 months. Still hasn't given up. The hope that he might somehow break through makes his suffering so much richer.
Part 7, The Corrupted Paradise. The Dark Lord had a sense of humor, black as it was. In the center of his domain, he had created a paradise, a perfect replica of what heaven was supposed to be. Golden streets, crystal fountains, eternal sunlight. It was beautiful. It was also the cruelest torture of all. Those brought to paradise were shown perfection, allowed to experience pure joy for exactly 1 hour. Then slowly it would begin to rot. The golden streets would reveal themselves as polished bone. The crystal fountains would run with blood. The sunlight would become the glare of watching eyes. But the worst part was that it would reset. Every day, the same hour of hope, the same gradual corruption. The inhabitants could remember each cycle, knew what was coming, but couldn't stop themselves from hoping that this time, maybe this time, it would stay beautiful.
Hope is the most exquisite suffering. Despair is just the seasoning.
Part 8. The Registry of Souls. In his throne room, the Dark Lord kept a special book, the Registry of Souls. Every person who died, their soul was automatically catalogued, sorted, and assigned to specific torments. The book wrote itself, growing larger each day. Today, he was browsing it for amusement when something caught his attention. A blank page. Not a missing entry, but a page that refused to be written upon.
Interesting. Herald, bring me the seers.
3 demons with 1,000 eyes between them were dragged before the throne. They could see across all realms, all times, all possibilities.
There's a soul that refuses to register. Find it.
The seers writhed, their eyes rolling in all directions, seeing everything at once. Then they screamed in unison, black blood pouring from their many eyes.
We cannot see. Something hides it. Something small, something pure, something impossible.
The Dark Lord stood, his form expanding with rage.
Nothing is hidden from me. Nothing.
But even as he raged, somewhere in the ruins of the world, in a place even demons hadn't found, something small stirred. A cocoon, no bigger than a child's fist, pulsed with soft white light. Part 9. The Breaking of the Last Knight. Sir Roderick had been the greatest knight of the realm, the last to fall in the Battle of the Damned. The Dark Lord had kept him alive for a special purpose, to break him publicly, to show that even the strongest will could be shattered. For 6 months, Roderick had endured everything. Physical torture, mental manipulation, watching loved ones die. Nothing had broken his faith that somehow good would prevail. So the Dark Lord tried something different. He gave Roderick everything back. His health, his strength, his sword. Then he put him in an arena with 100 human children and told him the rules.
Kill them all, and I'll free their souls to heaven. Refuse, and they'll suffer eternally in forms that would make even me impressed.
Roderick stood in the arena, sword heavy in his hand, as children cowered before him. They were innocent, terrified, some no more than 5 years old.
Please, Sir Knight. Please don't hurt us.
I won't. I won't become a monster.
The Dark Lord smiled.
Then you've condemned them to worse than death.
With a gesture, the children began to transform. Not quickly, but slowly, agonizingly. Their bodies twisted, bones breaking and reforming, skin splitting. But their minds remained intact, aware of every second of transformation into living nightmares.
Stop. Stop. I'll do it. I'll kill them.
Too late. You had your chance at mercy. Now they'll suffer forever because of your principles.
Roderick fell to his knees as the transformed children, still conscious, still aware, still in agony, crawled toward him, begging in voices that were no longer human for a death that would never come. The last night broke then, his mind shattering like glass. The Dark Lord had his victory. Part 10. The Demon's Feast. That night, the Dark Lord held a grand feast. The table was a mile long, made from compressed human bones. Every demon of rank was invited, each bringing their finest tortured souls as offering. They dined on hope, literally. Hope extracted from humans through elaborate processes, crystallized into something that could be consumed. Each bite was someone's dream dying.
A toast. To our eternal dominion.
Eternal dominion.
To the broken angels.
The broken angels.
To the suffering that never ends.
Never ends. As they feasted and celebrated, none noticed the single white butterfly that fluttered through the hall. It was so small, so insignificant, that even the Dark Lord's gaze passed over it. The butterfly landed briefly on the Registry of Souls, and for just a moment, another page went blank. Then it was gone, vanishing into the night where somewhere, in the darkest corner of the world, more cocoons were beginning to form. Epilogue: the world transformed. As the Dark Lord retired to his chambers, a realm of living shadows where he could exist in his truest form, he gazed out upon his domain through a window that showed all places at once. The world was his. Every kingdom fallen. Every hero broken. Every god fled or dead. Humans existed now only to suffer, to feed his ever-growing power. In hell, Gabriel still burned on his rock, his screams providing a pleasant background melody to the Dark Lord's thoughts.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect.
But perfection is static, and the universe abhors stillness. In places too small to matter, too insignificant to notice, change was beginning. The butterfly was just the first sign. The Dark Lord, in his absolute victory, had made the classic mistake of all tyrants. He had become complacent. And in that complacency, something impossible was beginning to grow. End of episode 6.
From ashes of the fallen kingdoms rise. I sit upon a throne built from their lies. The weight of darkness heavy on my crown. What once lifted up has now burned down.
Can you feel it? The power in the air. Every broken promise, every whispered prayer. They thought they'd break me, thought I'd disappear. Sitting on the throne they built from fear.
This is my throne of ashes. Throne of ashes.
Built from the ruins of their empire.
Baptized in unholy fire. Unholy fire.
The throne of ashes burns tonight. Hey! The crown feels heavier each passing day. The cost of power, the price we pay. But there's no turning back from what I've done. The queen of ashes, the chosen one.
Everybody make some noise. This is our kingdom. This is our choice. Raise your hands if you feel the power. This is our moment. This is our hour. From the